Well, hi everyone, it's Markus, and I'm zooming all the way over from Bali again. Today I'm talking to someone in Melbourne. It is Presley Davis Jr. And Presley, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Yeah, a little chilly, but I'm doing well.
You know what? You should have come over here with me. We should have done this face to face by the pool, which is just over there, with cocktails in hands. Life could have been different.
That sounds awesome.
You know what? You don't have time for that because you are a very, very busy man because you are 23rd of July, you're bringing out 3 freaking albums. Crazy. It's like, holy moly. I don't even know how you're going to do it. But you have just released 3 singles in 3 different genres. I'm going to talk you through them right now and then we can discuss them. Heart of My Heart, Showdown, and Convincing the Swaggers. Let's talk them through and why you enjoy spreading your
Sure.
talent through so many different genres.
Sure. Well, Heart of My Heart is a old jazz song that was in the lyrics. It talks about how the writer yearns for the time that they used to stand around singing "Heart of My Heart," and I had to look that up. So, "Heart of My Heart" was written in 1926. The song that it's talking about is "Story of the Rose." That song was written in 1899. So it's an old jazz song. And my dad played jazz. So I grew up learning those songs. And I wanted to do a record of that music. I've played it my whole life. And I've never made a record, as stupid as that sounds, of that music. And so, yeah, that Heart of My Heart is one of those songs where it's just, I love the melody. It's got a really sentimental lyrics. Yeah, they just don't write them like that anymore. There's a lyric in there where it goes, "I know a tear would glisten if once more I could listen." That's great writing.
And then Showdown.
Then I've got yeah, Showdown is more of a traditional sort of country track. It's got pedal steel on it. I wrote the track. It's really, yeah, it's about a relationship where you shouldn't go back one more time, and you've kept doing that because it's easy and it's comfortable. And despite you knowing that it's not going to work again, you keep doing it. So that's what Showdown is about. And yeah, it's got a really great pedal steel part on
I can't even tell you how many times that's been my story.
it.
Like, this song is about me. I should have been in the video clip. Crazy.
Yeah, hey, you'd have been great in the video clip. Yeah, we got it's yeah, but I think we've all been there. Everybody's experienced that. And yeah, I think I was in a bad place when I wrote that song, but over the years it's aged pretty well, so I decided to record it.
And then Convincing
And then
My
I've got
Dragons. Tell me about that one, because this one's curious. I'm keen beans.
Convincing Me as a track. It's got originally I was playing bass, so play a lot of different instruments, and I was playing bass. I love funk, I love soul. So I was playing this funky bass line came in my head, and I was playing that, and immediately I had some lyrics pop in my head, which is along the lines of "You're not my type, but you're convincing me." And then when I came around to record during COVID, I decided to do this project, and I thought, that's a little crass. I should change that. Like, it's like I'm stooping. So I thought, no, I'll think it. So I brainstormed on it a little bit. So yeah, it's a song about getting it on. It's very funky. It's very bass. It's got a bass line that's really funky, and that's what it's about. It's essentially getting it on when you know you shouldn't.
I like it. So, when you obviously the fact that you like to play in a lot of genres, um, when you started producing your music, did you have a lot of people coming to you and saying, you know what, stick to one genre, stick to one kind of lane? because it's going to be a lot more approachable and engaging for people that way because it's a lot more understood. Is that what you received, and how did you deal with that information?
Well, funny enough, it's not the people so much. I find that people have the eclectic record collections at home or, playlists. If you dig into their playlist, you'll see a lot in there.
Mm, yep.
Then in the past, I've actually recorded and written music that was quite eclectic, that had all elements of these one song or one record. And I might have a funk track and then sort of do a country track. And the problem with that is there's not many support networks for a highly eclectic album. So even Beatles made highly eclectic albums. They're revered. But nowadays, if you make a record like Abbey Road, for instance, you're going to have a problem distributing that, getting support for it, a recognition award, also algorithms. And that's where I'm sort of struggling is like Spotify has on my profile page, Presley Davis Jr. radio. And because one of my bluegrassy tunes got playlisted, it thinks I'm a bluegrass artist. So it's throwing my soul songs in a radio station that it's invented around me. It's just throwing them in with all these bluegrass artists, and they really jump out when you hit one. So it's more or less the industry, if you will, less so the people. The people are happy to hear it and happy to have it separated,
Do you find it frustrating having to define yourself in, because I think the way that we consume art is very much, we like to pigeonhole everything. Do you find it frustrating that you want to delve into all these kind of arenas, but sometimes we get restrained a little bit? Do you find that the creative process frustrating, I guess, sometimes?
Well, this is partly my reaction to that, is that if you don't put yourself in a genre that's really sort of tightly policed, and I think that happened over a long period of time, record stores and all this stuff, but algorithms have made this even worse. So if you don't put yourself dead center in a genre somewhere, you're very unlikely to get much traction. Whereas, so what I've done is separate my influences into 3 different records, so that and really try to be as genuine to those forms as possible, and really try to capture what I consider to be a country sound, what I consider to be a soul funk sound, what I consider to be a jazz sound, and try to capture it in a really genuine fashion. And what that does for me is it puts me sort of on even footing with a lot of artists who are already in there. Whereas before, yeah, I do find it. So I went to theater school, music school, and I was in the same class as a lot of art students. And what we got taught was you want to push your boundaries. You constantly want to experiment. If you're a creative type, that really should be one of your driving forces, is to be creative and constantly change. And if you look at painters, like Degas or those, they have stages, periods. And you can say, oh, that's from such and such phase. That's such and such phase. Musicians, we put out a record, somebody likes it. What do they want from your next record? Well, the industry is sort of like, well, can you make another record that's like your first record, not too different, but different enough? And so we sort of get pigeonholed. Even if we do achieve success, we sort of get pigeonholed in our own boundaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do find it a bit annoying.
So, and you know what? I mean, I guess that feeds, the creative soul as well at the same time. Having to constantly ride those waves and, deal with those challenges and, survive during all of that. Now, with these new albums, so July the 23rd, which is like only 5 days away, the albums come out.
Yep.
It's going to be a tour. It's going to be an Australian tour with these songs, these albums.
Look, I'm applying for some festivals, and hopefully that turns into a tour. I'm also going to do, I want to hit some of the big cities in Australia and hit some of the regional towns. So that's all in the works. And yeah, I want to take out the albums. Hopefully, if it's a venue, like a pub or a club or something, or a music venue, I'll bring one band and we'll just rip through a bunch of different songs with one band. The If it's a festival, because they are often genre based, you might only see the country set if I play a country festival.
Yep.
You know, if I play a jazz festival, you're only going to hear the jazz record. You know, so it provides a little bit of flexibility for me. I can apply for more things,
Yeah.
but it's a little limiting as far as the project goes. So.
But Presley, isn't that great for you? Because, you know, the fact that you can like turn up and do, you know, so many different kind of arenas, so many different genres, etc., that, you know, it would never get boring for you. You know, every day you can throw on a whole new hat, you know, like you got now. You know, every day you can wear a new hat. Life would never
Well,
be.
this is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing.
Um, and okay, we got
And
to
this
mention.
was the other ideas. You know, I'd been in bands, and so this is, you know, my solo. So as a solo project, my first solo project, because I've been in bands. Oh no. Um, and I decided to do this right off the bat, and that way, yeah, I can just switch hats
Yeah.
whenever I like.
Now, tell us about your backdrop because I feel like you've just purchased the Millennium Falcon. Are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, look, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a sci-fi
Yep.
nut.
Yep.
Um, but like old school, like I read a lot of comic books. Um, yeah, so I do love sci-fi quite a lot. I can be pretty particular about it, but I won't delve into that here. It's yeah, I'm a big sci-fi fan, Star Wars fan. Yeah, I love the original trilogy.
Oh,
Yeah, there's some other good stuff that's been coming in.
so do you find your interest in sci-fi inspire your music? You know, does it influence what you do creatively, do you think?
Probably with the free flowing thought, I try not to cage myself in, and I think by reading a lot of fiction, I'm really open to just going any which way, and that's probably part of it. Is I've always been I have a huge amount of creativity. I'm hyper creative, and then I think that's part of the reason I absorb a lot of pop culture and sci-fi and stuff like that over the years and collected and you know I'm constantly looking for some new texture, new idea, and a lot of that comes in. Yeah, sci-fi's definitely got a really creative, wild, creative streak in it.
So Presley, what are you listening to now? If you were to jump in the car and you were to turn on Spotify, chuck in a CD, whatever, who would you be putting on?
That's a good question. Who would I be putting on? Recently, I've been listening to, do you know Carla Geneve?
Yes.
Um, Singer-songwriter out of Perth, I think.
Yeah.
Um, she's got a new record out that's just fantastic. Great songwriter, great singer. And I went and saw her live when she came to Melbourne. Great show. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of her. Probably, you know, otherwise it's a lot of old soul records and stuff. I tend to get attached to good songwriters when I hear one. Like Anders Osborne, I'm a big fan of. He has an album called Coming Down, which I've mentioned a lot, and it's he's really vulnerable, and I think that's what I like about Carla Geneve is that she's not only got an incredible voice, but she's very vulnerable in her writing. And as a fellow songwriter, I find that very enchanting. I love it.
So signing off, Presley, what inspires you? Like, how do you come up with your music and what inspires you to keep on going and keep on writing and keep on singing and producing the incredible work that you do?
What inspires me? Okay. I just get ideas. I can't help it. And maybe that's, yeah, like I said, I studied art and theater and music, and I just constantly coming up with a new idea that may or may not be marketable or interesting to other people. And then I scribble them down or record them down, and then I come back to them later and sort through them. So I don't, every once in a while, get an inspiration from an instrument. Like if I'm playing a different guitar or a different bass or it's a piano I haven't played on before, I find that something in a particular register or position sounds really good, and all of a sudden I'm off So yeah, I don't need much to be inspired to make music. The keeping going, that's more difficult these days. And I think this project, and I've talked to other musicians about this, and they were saying, why would you do something like this? And I said, look, it's hard to measure your success these days, because, well, we're not getting a lot of money from streaming. We're working really hard to tour and sell merch, to break even. So how do you measure success? That's a really good question. And I think you measure it by setting for me, this is me, a ridiculous goal for myself, and then achieving it and finishing it. And then I can walk away and say, I did that, and it was hard work, but I finished it and I did it and I'm happy with it, and I can hang my hat on that. Whereas otherwise, in this landscape at the moment, and I'm going to quote unquote in the industry, which I think is just musicians really working really hard. There's not much industry left. I think it's important just to challenge yourself and do what makes you happy, because that may be the only success you get is achieving your own goal.
Well, Presley, like seriously, I wish you all the best for the 3 albums. Everybody who's watching, make sure you get onto Heart of My Heart, Showdown, and Convincing Me. They're all out now, and the 3 albums will be out on July the 23rd. Presley, I would love to keep on chatting, but there's a palm tree over there and a pool with a cocktail waiting for me. So I got to get over there. Right? You've been a blast. I can't wait to catch you when you do.
Yeah. What's your
Oh, what's that?
what's your favorite cocktail?
My favorite cocktail?
What's your favorite drink in a hot weather?
Okay, well, I'm actually a sober guy these days. I don't drink anymore, so it will be a non-alcoholic cocktail. Yeah, boring, I know, but you know what? It's me. It's fine.
Right.
So yeah.
That's all. Hey, you know what? Non-alcoholic's all the rage. It's all the
Well,
rage.
it turns out it is. Presley,
Yeah, no, look, I'm drinking heaps of non-alcoholic beer.
actually, you know what? The beers are probably the best. I've got to be honest. Presley Davis Jr., you are amazing. I cannot wait to see you on tour. You better be coming to Adelaide because I need to catch up with you, and we'll have a non-alcoholic beverage together. In the meantime, I'm over there at the pool
Sounds
in
great.
seconds time. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and all the best with an incredible
Thank you, Markus.
album launch.